أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وكتبنا له في الألواح من كل شيء موعظة وتفصيلا لكل شيء فخذها بقوة وأمر قومك يأخذوا بأحسنها سأريكم دار الفاسقين سأصرف عن آياتي الذين يتكبرون في الأرض بغير الحق وإن يروا كل آية لا يؤمنوا بها وإن يروا سبيل الرشد لا يتخذوه سبيلا وإن يروا سبيل الغي يتخذوه سبيلا ذلك بأنهم كذبوا بآياتنا وكانوا عنها غافلين والذين كذبوا بآياتنا ولقاء الآخرة حبطت أعمالهم هل يجزون إلا ما كانوا يعملون صدق الله العظيم. So continuing with the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and his people, and when the Torah and the tablets were given, and what was given to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam when he went to the mountain. So وَكَتَبْنَا لَهُ فِي الْأَلْوَاحِ, in these tablets we inscribed for him, and for Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and his people, مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, from all necessary things, مَوْعِظَةً وَتَفْصِيلًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Maw'idah, an admonition, advice, issues of encouragement, targhib, tarhib, all of these things were there. وَتَفْصِيلًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ, and an explanation of all things which have to do with hidayah. And how many tablets were given? There are different narrations regarding them. Some say 2, some say 10, some more or less, the sizes, etc. But in any case, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was given these tablets, and the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and admonition from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, targhib, encouragement towards good deeds and staying away from wrong, those things which are obligatory, those things which are not, etc. All of this was mentioned in these tablets. So مَوْعِظَةً وَتَفْصِيلًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. كُلُّ شَيْء in Arabic means everything. And everything which was necessary for their hidayah and for their guidance. So why isn't that clause mentioned? If that's the case, تَفْصِيلًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So why does it just say لِكُلِّ everything? Yani to show that whatever is mentioned here, that's all you need to worry about. For you, this is kulli shay. For you, this is everything that you need. And if the question is that if what it means is that the necessary guidance for you living in this world, then why isn't that clause also mentioned? That tafsilan li kulli shay'in min al-hidayah. Why is it min al-hidayah? To indicate towards this that just consider whatever is here more than sufficient for your guidance. This is what you need. Consider this to be everything. You don't need to look elsewhere, you don't need to look outside, you don't need to change this, alter it, and think that this is not unnecessary questions, etc., as we know that they did later anyways, because they didn't take it as لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. فَخُذْهَا بِقُوَّةٍ. How should you engage with this hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? To hold firmly to it. خُذْهَا بِقُوَّةٍ. Take it with strength, with power, meaning hold on to it. وَأْمُرْ قَوْمَكَ يَأْخُذُوا بِأَحْسَنِهَا. And O Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, command your people that they should take أَحْسَنِهَا. أَحْسَنِهَا literally meaning the best of it. Meaning everything in it, Mufassirun explain in various ways. One is that everything that is mentioned here, that is ahsan, that is the best. Or the ahsan referring to that those things which are wajibat. Wajibat meaning the obligatory things, not which is optional. Optional, if you do it, you do it. If you don't do it, there's no sin. But at the very least, those things which are obligatory, mandatory, wajib upon you, must do, at the very least you should do those things. أَمُرْ قَوْمَكَ يَأْخُذُوا بِأَحْسَنِهَا. And if you do not adopt this way of life, that you do not hold firmly to what we have given you, you do not take and pay heed and attention to what is best and what is good and what is written in here, سَأُرِيكُمْ دَارَ الْفَاسِقِينَ, then I shall show you the dwelling of the place in hellfire for those who transgressed, meaning the people of Fir'aun. That the same way how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with them. There's no bias in the system of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That yes, we saved you from Fir'aun and his people, from the Pharaoh and his people right now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed the mu'jiza upon the hands of Nabi Musa alayhi salatu salam. This doesn't put you on a pedestal over the rest of creation. That you get to do, you have special treatment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you're not under any command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you're not under any law. You can do as you wish. That no. Just as they did not follow the command and they acted in this unjust manner, if you do the same, then the same will happen. Because you followed Musa alayhi salatu salam, you are upon haqq and truth with him, you followed him, so you are saved. So now again, if you also go against Musa alayhi salam, as Fir'aun and his people did, then the Dar al-Fasiqeen is for everyone. There's one treatment for Allah, from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no bias in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even with the families of the Anbiya alayhi salatu salam. Those that did not follow the Nabi, despite being from the family, the progeny, the spouse even of a Nabi, that also did not save them. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, as he said, that مَنْ بَطَّأَ بِهِ عَمَلُهُ لَمْ يُسْرِعْ بِهِ نَسَبُهُ. If your actions and your deeds keep you behind, if your deeds and your actions keep you behind, لَمْ يُسْرِعْ بِهِ نَسَبُهُ. The person's lineage will not push him forward. That's my father was like this, my grandfather was this and that. What question is, what are you? What did you do? Are you following? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِي الَّذِينَ تَكَبَّرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. The question is that after receiving these alwah and tablets from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then for most people, it would be almost, as we say, a no-brainer. Obviously you would follow it. You just witnessed this. This is hidayah, guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the people of both are being addressed here. Yani both the Banu Israel would have been addressed, and this is also for, because the Quran al-Kareem is for this ummah. So those that are listening to this wahi, this is for them as well. The الَّذِينَ يَتَكَبَّرُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. The same thing comes back. That arrogance, that stubborn arrogance of a person, those who show pride and are arrogant in this world, in this earth, without any haqq and without any right from their side, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what happens? Those that show this level of arrogance, that we don't need anything. No one needs to tell us what to do. We already know everything. We've reached the moon. We've done this and we have this and we have that. Why? Who is this Musa to tell us what to do? Who is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who are they to tell us? سَأَصْرِفُ عَنْ آيَاتِي. What happens is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then makes them and turns them away from even seeing right. وَإِن يَرَوْا كُلَّ آيَةٍ لَا يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَا. Sometimes when you may read the stories of such people that they're seeing mu'jiza upon mu'jiza, they just witness a mu'jiza of the Nabi, and then again they turn around and treat the Nabi like this. Again they don't listen, they're disobedience. So it was that arrogance which caused them to be blinded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw this amal and this action and this disobedience from theirs, and this was so abhorred in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cast a block over their vision. All of the signs, any sign you bring, it makes no difference to them. They won't believe in it now. If they see the right path, this is the correct thing, still they still will not adopt it as a right path. If they see the path of disobedience, they'll take that. They rejected the clear signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it came to them. Why? Because of arrogance. Some because they didn't want to lose their position. They were in a status. That's what happened when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam comes to Medina Munawwarah. Then there were Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, for example, and others, they were holding a certain position. They saw that if we also accept this, then we will lose it. Same thing is happening in Mecca. That if we go behind Muhammad bin Abdullah, then what happens? We lose our status. Some because of money, some because of whatever other reasons. ذَلِكَ بِأَنْهُمْ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا. When they reject and falsify the clear signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also puts a cover and a veil over them. وَكَانُوا عَنْهَا غَافِلِينَ. They were heedless about this. They thought that this is something very simple, we'll just do this and move along. وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَلِقَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ. At the end, what happens? Those that live such a life of belying, falsifying the ayat and the signs and the textual verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the day of judgment, they reject all of this. حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ. Their actions will all be considered also futile, باطل. حَبِطَتْ يعني بَطَلَتْ أَعْمَالُهُم. It was all futile. Whatever good they did, even if it was good things, because it was coupled with rejection, because it was coupled with belying, because it was coupled with not having faith and belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُم. Habita means to be futile, as if it didn't occur. So the way they treated the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh, this is nothing. That these are signs, is nothing. These are verses, commands from Allah, is nothing. The Nabi is telling them doesn't mean anything to them. So habita, they're seeing the mu'jizat of the Quran Kareem was revealed, and they can see the miracle. They in their own circles even sit and plot together that look, you and I know that this is right, but how do we battle this? So you're as if, and then in front of people they'll go and say, oh, he's a magician, he's this, he did this, kahin, soothsayer. So just as they treat it as if the truth is nothing, it's futile, it's as if it never occurred, you just turn a blind eye to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that's how your a'mal and your actions are in our court now. Habitat a'malum. No, it doesn't matter, you were charitable, you gave charity, you did good and all this, but that was not with iman. So we'll also consider your actions to be all gone. Habitat a'malum. Hal yujzawna illa ma kanu ya'malun. That is what they did, that is what we are reciprocating them for. What they did, yes, in the world they may have some benefit out of this. When it comes to the akhirah, because there is no iman, then they're only getting the retribution of what they did, nothing else. We're not adding, not subtracting anything. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us understanding of the Quran Kareem.